In this video, we're comparing the Dyson V9 Motorbar and the Dyson V15 Detect, two cordless stick vacuums that may share the Dyson name but are built for very different users. The V9 is Dyson's lightest stick vacuum, designed for smaller homes and buyers who want something compact, lightweight, and more budget-friendly. The V15 Detect sits at the other end of the lineup, aimed at users willing to spend more for longer runtime, stronger performance, and better cleaning across both hard floors and carpets in larger homes. I've spent hours testing both vacuums side by side, collecting real performance data rather than relying on specs or marketing claims. And let's see how they actually compare. Before we get into the test results, let's first walk through the similarities and differences between the Dyson V9 and the V15 Detect, starting with what they have in common. Both the V9 and V15 use Dyson's trigger-style design, meaning you have to hold the trigger down for the motor to run. The advantage is power on demand, which helps maximize battery efficiency since the vacuum only runs when you're actively cleaning. The downside is fatigue, especially during longer sessions, because your hand and wrist are constantly engaged. Next is the dustbin. While the V15 dustbin is noticeably larger, both models use the same horizontally aligned dustbin Dyson introduced with the V10, a layout designed to maximize usable capacity. Both use Dyson's hygienic ejection system, which helps push debris out of the bin. This reduces the need to use your hands when disposing of dirt. Filtration is another shared trait. Both vacuums use a single, combined pre- and post-motor filter system. In the fog test, which visually checks how well a vacuum seals fine particles, neither showed leakage, indicating a solid seal around the filter and dustbin. Both models also use detachable batteries, making replacements easy and allowing you to extend runtime by keeping a spare in hand. Hair pickup is another area of overlap. Both vacuums include tools designed to handle long hair with minimal tangling. The V9's motorbar head uses built-in combs behind the brush to reduce the risk of long hair wrapping around it, similar to the V15 standard carpet nozzle, which also incorporates combs. It's worth noting that the V15's laser fluffy head does not include anti-tangle combs and instead relies heavily on airflow to lift hair. Finally, both models include Dyson's hair screw tool. Its tapered brush design is excellent for upholstery, directing long hair into the dustbin instead of wrapping around the brush, a common issue with traditional mini motorized tools. While both models feature LCD displays, the V15 Detect screen is far more advanced. It shows the piezo sensor readout, tracking 4 debris size categories in real time using dynamic bar graphs as you clean. The V9 by comparison uses a simpler display similar to the V11, showing only remaining runtime and the selected power mode. Another difference is dirt capacity. The V15 Detect more than doubles the V9's bin capacity at 0.77 liters, allowing it to hold significantly more debris and reducing the number of trips to the trash bin. The V15 includes 2 floor-specific cleaning heads, one for hard floors and one for carpet. The Laser Slim Fluffy Head is a slimmer version of Dyson's soft roller and uses a bright green laser to reveal fine dust that's nearly invisible to the naked eye. The V9 ships with just one floor head, the Motorbar. Its design is similar to the V15's standard carpet brush and includes anti-tangle combs to help manage long hair. Where the V9 clearly wins is weight. The V9 body weighs just over 2 pounds, making it far lighter than the V15, which weighs roughly 4 pounds and 8 ounces. That difference is immediately noticeable in handheld use and during long cleaning sessions. Finally, the V15 Detect includes a broader selection of attachments out of the box, depending on the sub-model, while the V9 comes only with 3. Next, let's move into the test results, starting with power. I measured both the Dyson V9 and the V15 Detect in 2 key areas: suction and airflow. For suction, I use a Y gauge and a water lift gauge to capture both sealed and unsealed performance. The seal test reflects potential suction on carpet where the nozzle forms a near-complete seal against the surface. The unsealed test represents suction on hard floors, where gaps prevent a full seal from forming. Airflow was measured with an anemometer at 2 points, the extension tube and the nozzle, to determine the amount of air flowing through each area. In the suction test, the V15 Detect clearly outperformed the V9. It reached 22 inches of water lift in the unsealed test and 65 inches in the sealed test. By comparison, the V9 measured 12 inches in the unsealed test and 40 inches in the sealed test. That gives the V15 a 47 to 58% advantage in suction, depending on the test. The V15 also produced more airflow. At the extension tube, it measured between 34 and 73 CFM, and at the nozzle, between 29 and 69 CFM. That represents a 28 to 58% airflow advantage over the V9 at the same measurement locations. Despite the power disparity, the V9 held up well in the cleaning tests. I ran both vacuums across a wide range of debris, including Quaker oats, quinoa, pet litter, coffee grounds, sand, and hair. On surface level debris, the results were surprisingly close. In several tests, the difference between the V9 and V15 was less than 1%. Where the V15 separated itself was efficiency, thanks to its higher airflow. It consistently picked up more debris with fewer passes. That advantage was especially clear on hard floors. The V15's laser nozzle cleaned effectively even at the lowest power setting, highlighting the strength of its roller-style design, which excels at lifting debris from bare surfaces. The V9's motor bar head picked up more sand, but only at the middle or max power settings. By contrast, the V15 achieved similar or better results on low power, preserving battery life and extending runtime. The bright green laser is another advantage for the V15, making it easier to track fine dust and mist debris, particularly in low light areas. One drawback of the motor bar head's low clearance design is its tendency to snowplow larger debris piles, such as this Quaker oats pile. While it ultimately picked up nearly everything, doing so required multiple short back and forth passes. By comparison, the laser slim fluffy head cleared the debris in fewer passes without requiring additional maneuvering. On carpet, the airflow advantage of the V15 becomes immediately obvious. It achieved perfect scores on both surface level and embedded dirt tests, highlighting how much airflow matters when debris is worked deep into carpet fibers. The V9 performed well with surface debris, but its lower airflow limited its deep cleaning ability. In the embedded dirt test, where I rubbed 100 grams of sand into the carpet, the V9 picked up 90.15%, the lowest result among Dyson's full-size cordless models I tested. Both vacuums handled edge cleaning well, cleaning debris in just a few passes. The difference once again came down to efficiency. The V15 completed the task on its lowest power setting, while the V9 required using a higher power setting. In forward passes, the V9 occasionally left trails of coffee grounds, highlighting the motor bar head's limitations with certain debris types. Next, I tested hair pickup using strands ranging from 5 to 12 inches. On hard floors, both vacuums perform exceptionally well, achieving 100% pickup with 5, 7, and 9-inch hair. Both also scored highly with 11-inch strands. However, the V9 performed better in the 12-inch test, picking up 98%, nearly 18 percentage points more than the V15. Though the V15 was decent, picking up around 80%, you could see hair wrapping around the roller. On carpet, the results flipped. The V15's higher airflow gave it a clear advantage with longer hair. While the V9 managed 100% pickup with 5 to 9-inch strands, it struggled with longer hair, collecting just 49% in the 11-inch test. The V15, by contrast, picked up 99 and 98% in the 11 and 12-inch tests, respectively. Finally, runtime is another area where the V15 Detect clearly pulls ahead, thanks to its larger capacity battery. On the lowest setting, with a nozzle attached, the V15 ran for over 84 minutes, more than double the V9's 38 minutes and 51 seconds. Removing the nozzle extended the V9's runtime by nearly 10 minutes, but it still fell well short of the V15's roughly 84-minute mark. Even in the middle setting, the V15 maintained an advantage, particularly on hard floors, where it lasted over 41 minutes. On carpet with a standard nozzle, runtime dropped to under 20 minutes, as the V15 increases power when it detects heavier debris, a trade-off that favors cleaning performance over battery life. Lastly, let's look at the noise levels. I measured both vacuums using a sound meter placed beside the machine during operation. Interestingly, despite its lower power output, the Dyson V9 was slightly louder than the V15 Detect. In testing, the V9 ranged between 72 and 81.9 decibels, while the V15 came in a bit quieter at 70 to 80.8 decibels. Most of the V9's extra noise comes from the vibration in the motor bar nozzle, which is especially noticeable on hard floors. So which Dyson is the better option? For me, choosing between the Dyson V9 and the V15 Detect comes down to a few key questions. Are you willing to spend more for better efficiency, longer runtime, and stronger all-around performance? And is budget a hard deal breaker? If Dyson included a soft roller head with the V9 without increasing the price, it would be an easy recommendation, especially for smaller homes. A soft roller is simply more efficient on hard floors. As it stands, the motor bar head can clean hard floors, but it's less efficient and carries a higher risk of scratching delicate surfaces. You'll also need to rely on at least the middle power setting for heavier debris, which impacts both efficiency and runtime. For lighter dust, however, it still gets the job done. If you're set on the more affordable Dyson V9, just be aware of its limitations, particularly the smaller dustbin and reduced efficiency on hard floors. If you found this comparison helpful, consider liking the video. It really helps it reach more people looking for honest, data-driven reviews like this one. Subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss future comparisons. And I'll see you in the next video.